Back it goes and gone. The 0-2 pitch. He struck him out swinging at 101. Swinging a drive, left field and deep. Back it goes and gone. And the Twins walk it off again.
Well, it's not all football chatter. It's a great sports weekend. We got the NBA and NHL playoffs going on. The draft is happening. Of course, the Major League Baseball season is now a month old. The Twins are back at home as they start a 3-game set with the Angels. Our guy Cory Provus joins us each and every Friday. His appearance is brought to us by Welton's Tire Service. After drying out yesterday with the finale against the White Sox, where we were just visiting off air, I watched for a bit, but then I saw the rain start, so I wasn't sure if you had to sit, if they made you wait around for a while yesterday before they called it.
Not bad. I mean, there are situations where, yeah, you sit there for hours and wait and wait and wait. Are we playing? Are we not? But the forecast was pretty obvious, and I think anybody that was around the Metro last night realized it didn't taper off until well after 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock. So it rained pretty much all day long, and so it wasn't so bad. I think the rule is 45 minutes. You have to wait, and somewhere between 45 and an hour is when they said, all right, it's an official game. Let's just move on. And White Sox win the game, and the Twins, looking for a sweep, but still take the series.
All right, so where do we grade after what we saw for at least this series? I don't even talk about Atlanta because Atlanta just was not good. But what do we make of how they played against Chicago the last few days?
Remember, I told you last week.
I know.
I don't think the Twins had beaten the Braves since '91, and they still haven't. I thought at minimum, the Twins had to do what they did. They had to win the series. Sweep, sure, but they had to win the series. I mean, looking at this week, 4-2, 5-1, that had to be kind of where you have to hit. And then they hit it. And so they got 2 out of 3. Chances were there yesterday, and the conditions obviously were not ideal, but there's not a lot to like about their team, but that dude that threw yesterday, second time now the Twins have seen Shane Smith, and he was the first pick in the Rule 5 draft, and for good reason. He's good. I mean, he's good. He's got pitches, he's got velocity, he's got movement. He's a guy. So I could see why the White Sox think pretty highly of him.
So you see what transpired is pitching-wise on both Tuesday and Wednesday. That's what they're going to – I mean, that's what every baseball team wants is 6 innings out of your starter. But Bailey Ober did that. That's what consistently this team needs to start stringing together to start winning some ball games. Seems obvious, right?
And if you're getting that, you're actually getting more than the major league average right now. I mean, we're talking about the major league average for starting pitching is probably about 16 outs. So you're looking at 5 1/3 innings. I know it's not the game it once was. And when I bring up a number like that, I can just hear Burt Blyleven want to kick me in the shins. And I get it. I understand. But that's just kind of where we're at in the game today. So, it'd be great to get 6 innings. But outside the first 7, 8, 9 games of the season, Dom, you can point to a lot of reasons as to why this team has struggled. Starting pitching, to me, isn't one of them in more recent stretches than it was the first turn and a half of the rotation, because the starting pitching has held up their end and then some.
Maybe the best news, Cory, that came out during the rain delay is that Royce Lewis is going to start a rehab stint tonight in St. Paul. I mean, I guess I'll ask you, does that mean an imminent return if this is starting tonight?
I would be surprised if it is imminent. I think this is something that is going to take. He hasn't played a game since March 16th. And so with the team on the road next week, I don't see a chance he's in Cleveland.
Okay.
Outside chance, Boston, maybe. I think if somebody else goes down, then this whole conversation changes. But if they keep healthy for the next week and a half, to me, I'm looking more about that following homestand. So after the Twins get back from Boston, there's an off day Monday, and then I believe the Orioles are in town starting a series that Tuesday night. That, to me, is, in my mind, kind of the target date. Could be wrong, but I can't see it happening in Cleveland. I think Rocco's going to want to see him play, not just 1 game or 2 games, but, let me see 4 or 5 in a row. He's going to get a day here and there. I'm not saying he won't, but I think he's going to need to see him play continuous baseball here over a stretch of time.
He also said he's going to use the torpedo bat. What do we make of that?
So I was in the batting cage before the game on Tuesday with Glenn Perkins, and I saw Ty France, he was
Yeah.
using one. Harrison Bader was using one. Ryan Jeffers, he's had one, but he hasn't used it in a couple of weeks. And Royce was, he was trying it out. Carlos Correa has been using a torpedo bat as well. So, yeah, these are starting to pick up here a little bit. And we had a great shot the other night. I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday's game. Ty France had an RBI hit, and we were able to isolate an image of exactly the point of the torpedo bat, just bringing more mass from the end of the barrel down towards the middle, and that's where France hit the ball, and just had it was right off that more dense part of the bat, and that's the whole point of it. You rarely do guys swing and miss at the end of their bat. They're swinging and missing maybe in more of the center towards the trademark sweet spot area. That's where it's happening. So that's why you're seeing some guys go to that. Now, there's also some guys who are very comfortable with getting hits off the end of their bat. And if that's you, then probably the torpedo bat is not for you. And, I like Brooks Lee is a guy that I don't know if he's too inclined to try the torpedo bat right now because he does pick up hits. If you just look at where the ball finds his bat, yeah, you'd love to hit it in that sweet spot all the time. It's not going to happen. So for a guy that's still going to get a few off the end of the bat, for him using his current bat, and if you want to say the older model, makes more sense.
When you're broadcasting, are you paying attention to that more of guys using that? Have you pointed that out on broadcast, or just you're letting it go?
I mean, if we see it, I mean, I am looking at it a bit more. I think, I'm still waiting to kind of have a whole line about you sunk my battleship, with the whole torpedo thing that
Nice.
I've had in my brain to kind of incorporate somehow, some way, but I'm not there yet. But yeah, I see it, and there's a novelty to it, but it's more of a talking point, Dom. If when players, and they're not going to always just, hey Corey, guess what? I'm using the torpedo bat.
Right.
You have to pick up on it, and then if they're using it, then you got to try to go back the next day with that player and be like, how long have you done that? So if I see it, but it's not something that I really lock in on. But for a guy like Justin or a guy like Denard or a guy like Trevor Plouffe, these hitters, I think for them, yeah, I think that is something that they are looking at.
So Pablo Lopez is going to be back tonight against the Angels. That means that we're assuming that David Festa is not going to be back with the team at least for a little bit, right?
Yeah, they're not going with a 6-man rotation. So Festa is going to be the odd man out right now. And I'll say this: when Pablo went down with the injury, I think there was going to be some internal competition here because Pablo was a grade 1. They didn't think it was going to be out too long. Okay, is somebody going to pitch themselves out of the rotation? And the answer was no. I mean, Chris Paddock threw well. Tough conditions yesterday, much higher walk rate, fine. But before that, his prior 2 starts were really good, especially his start Friday in Atlanta. Simeon was Richardson. He's kept his team in the game. I didn't think he was deserving to go out. And for David Festa, just a numbers thing right now. And they're going to need him again. They're going to need Zebby Matthews. They're going to need these guys. That all is going to happen here. The Twins are not just going to go the rest of the season with just the same group that they have right now. So it's great to have that depth. And this is not the last time we'll see Festa with the Twins this season.
Got an email to ask you, why the delay, Corey, on putting Willie Castro on the injured list? He had been injured, I guess, for a bit. Why was it finally decided yesterday? Do you know on that?
Yeah, I mean, I asked about that myself, and he just got to a point where it felt like his left-handed swing, he couldn't do it. And they thought they were trending in a way that the left-handed swing, because that was more of the discomfort, not so much the right swing, but the left swing, because the pain he was feeling was in his right oblique, that they thought they were making progress, but it got to a point, and with some off days that they had, right, they had off days, before the series with Atlanta started, and then the back end before the homestand started with the White Sox, that they thought, a day off here and a day off here, maybe they could make the most of it. But now with no off days until after the upcoming road trip, I think they just couldn't play short anymore. So they came to a point where all right, we have to IL him. It's retroactive. Yeah. So he's out, and Mickey Gasper's back up.
We'll break. We come back with much more with Corey about Byron Buxton's week, and certainly about the first week in the majors for Luke Keeschall, because that's been okay. We'll do that on the other side of the break. Back with Cory Provus as the Twins get set for the Angels tonight. Back on Hot Mic in just a couple minutes. Wrapping up our first hour. Back with Cory Provus. His appearances brought to us by Welton's Tire Service. Twins and Angels. Note the start time if you've seen it on your permanent schedule or magnet calendars, it's not a 7 o'clock. They moved it up because the Wolves and the Lakers tonight at Target Center. So it's a 6:40 first pitch at Target Field. There's going to probably be some congestion in that neck of the woods tonight.
Yeah, that's why I'm leaving here in about 5 minutes to head to the ballpark there. So I'm going to start getting to work pretty soon. So it's going to be awesome, though. I mean, yes, traffic is going to be it's going to be what it is. But man, you this is what you want,
Yep.
and this is what downtown Minneapolis needs. I mean, they need this kind of excitement. They need people. They want to have this kind of action. And you've got Mike Trout in town. You've got LeBron James in town. You got Luka Doncic in town. I'm not complaining.
That's
I
all
think
right.
I think it's pretty cool. The Wild winning last night. It's awesome. I think it's a really fun time to be in the Twin Cities.
All right, so let's go back to the Byron Buxton catch. You've called so many of them immediately, and this is the glass half empty guy. I'm like, oh my gosh, please get up, please be all right. That call is such an organic one. Describe your view of that and to save the game at that play.
Matthew Leach covers the Twins for MLB.com. He had a really good story that came out yesterday that I invite everybody to go look at on Twins.com, and kind of asked a few people, their favorite, Buxton catches. And I was lucky enough to be asked to be a part of that article, and it was a great play. It's not my favorite. My favorite still is Mother's Day in 2017 in Cleveland. Twins lost the game. Carlos Santana then with Cleveland, and now with Cleveland, but then with Cleveland. Late in the ball game, Twins, I think they lost pretty big, but Santana crushes one. He's batting left-handed, crushes one out to right center. And Buxton, 7 years ago, sprints to his left, slams into the wall, makes the catch, falls backward onto the ground. His back is on the warning track. He's looking up to the sky. He lost his cap. He lost his glasses. And then Carlos Santana rounds first base. He's like, he got me again, slams his helmet down between first and second base. That I just love the visual of that one. Just seeing the impact with the wall and then everything falling off his head. I still love that one. But the other one the other night, that one was unique because it truly saved the game. I mean, rarely has he made a play like that, but that's been the decisive game-winning walk-off play. I mean, the guy's hit walk-off home runs before. He's come up with walk-off, at bats, but a walk-off diving catch, those are pretty rare.
Yeah.
And I think what we're all seeing right now is the maturation of this young guy we knew way back when as a kid. He picks his spots. There's a lot of risk reward that goes on in that head. When I go, when I don't. And while it looks very easy, like, oh, ball lands in front of him, how come he didn't dive after that on TV? If you're at the game, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Either he can't get it, or it's just not, the risk reward isn't there. But when he knows the game is on the line, there's a point of the game to make an impact, he'll turn it on and remind us all why he's got platinum, Dom, on that Rawlings glove.
The week ago today, we were discussing the imminent arrival of Luke Keeschall, and boy, Corey, that's an impressive first 6 games he's had in the major leagues. Describe what he's meant to the line. Just give him a little jolt. It seemed like since that first at bat in Atlanta, I watched. I'm like, okay, there's something to this kid.
Justin Morneau has been on this guy for a while, and we obviously heard his name a bit last year because he was in the Futures game, but then Tommy John surgery, and so he was, never going to come up last year. But Morneau was on him for a while, and I think had a chance to see him hit in the cage in spring training at the very, very beginning days of camp. And there's something about him that just clicked with Morneau. And so as the days were going by and we're seeing the offense struggle and the roster's not doing a whole lot, he would just be like, the dude's got to come up at some point here. Let's go. Let's go. We'll find a place for him to play. And I get why. I think we all do. But the key phrase there, the word was energy. And he certainly has brought that. He's brought this youthful energy and jolt to this team. And the team's base running numbers are better. It's not just because of him and Buxton, but that's been a surprising stat for me with this team. Because even with Keeschall here, even with Byron running better than he has and maybe ever, because his sprint speed is tied with Bobby Witt Jr. for the best in baseball right now, this is not a fast team. Yet they're running the bases well, and they're doing so aggressively. They're doing so in a way that is not taking them out of big innings. Yeah, Julian got picked off yesterday.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. But the first to third, the second to home, those are areas of big time improvement. And that to me has been a welcome surprise because we're talking about basically the same guys a year ago. And this was by many measures, if not the worst base running team in baseball, Dom, then at least, bottom two, bottom three.
Is it seem, it's Captain Obvious question, is he secured a spot if everybody gets back healthy? Is he going to stay up in your mind, or is that he hasn't done, they got to bring other guys back and he hasn't got a spot yet?
I think there'd be a hard time sending him out. I think that, yes, I think they'd have a really hard time getting rid of him because of his production, what he's doing. I think you're seeing his limitations, though, at second base, the error and the throwing. That's not there where they want it to be. But in terms of he seems fine DHing, that doesn't seem to bother him. And he's bat third the last 3 games, and he's finding his way on
Yeah.
base all these games. He's got a hit now in his first 6 games of his career. So Brooks Lee did the same thing last year. Now we see Luke Keeschall do the same a year later.
So the Angels are here. This is obviously a team that's really struggled over the last handful of years. Mike Trout was injured a ton last year. He's back. Obviously, Ohtani's long gone. What do we make of this Angels team we're going to see over the next 3 days?
500 ball club got a 1-run win late last night. They played a night game at home last night.
I saw that.
Sam Blum covers the Angels for The Athletic. And if you're a subscriber, take a look at his story. He had a story come out yesterday or the day before about many of the Angels players are so upset with ownership and front office because they just don't get many day game getaway days. And so they had a night game. They probably got to town between 4 and 5 a.m.
Ugh.
And then they have the night game tonight, the time change, then 2 more day games. So from a travel schedule, you would hope that the Twins will use that as out. But the Angels are a 500 team. They strike out a ton. And an emphasis for this Twins pitching staff this year was because they were not very good a year ago with 2 strikes. They just left too many pitches around the plate and got hurt by 2-strike pitches. This should be a situation where, okay, we have 2 strikes and Pablo's back tonight. You have your chase and you have your waste. And far too often last year, Dom, the 2-strike pitches were waste. They were non-competitive 2-strike pitches. They have to be more chase than waste tonight. And see this Angels team that strikes out, I think, around 26% of the time of their plate appearances. Use that to your advantage. Pablo, Woods Richardson, and Ryan throughout the weekend, the bullpen guys as well, because they do slug. I mean, you look at their team slug, they're in what, upper half of all of baseball, top 15 in baseball. So they do have some power guys. They had a couple of home runs yesterday. I really like their catcher, Logan O'Hoppe. I like their shortstop, Zach Neto. Jorge Soler is with the Angels now. He's always good for a home run or two when the Twins see that dude, no matter where he's played. So they've got some familiar names, but you can't ignore how often this team strikes out. And that, to me, is, I think, a key storyline this weekend.
Have a great call this weekend. Safe travels. We'll talk to you next week in Boston, okay?
Talk to you in Boston next weekend.
Sounds good, bud. There he goes.
See you,
Cory Provus joins us each and every Friday at 9:30. His appearance is brought to us by Welton's Tire Service. Again, the Twins and Angels game starts early tonight. It's a 6:30 start for that one. And then again Sunday because of the Wolves and Lakers game, because that's a day game as well at Target Center on Sunday. They moved up the game on Sunday to a 12:30 start. So again, 6:30 tonight, 12:30 on Sunday. We made the joke early in the week. Are there going to be more fans at the basketball game tonight than at the baseball game tonight? And the answer is yes. Yes, there will be. They had 10,000, 11,000. The crowds were not good. I don't blame them. I mean, the Twins are, what are they, 9-16? They're exactly what fans are coming out to see. We'll save that stat. Let's save that stat for both tonight and Sunday to see what the attendance disparities are between the Target Center and Target Field for games coming up this weekend. We'll break. We come back. We'll start hour 2. Dan Larson will join us. Bison offensive coordinator. He was in Pierre last night to see his former player, Gray Zabel, get picked. We'll talk about that and much more when hour 2 of Hot Mic begins after this.